Hey guys, it's Dana and it's time to talk about money. And in this video, we're going to talk about the new budget law and how it impacts your debt journey. So let's get to it. Okay, so Congress recently passed a new bill, a new budget and tax package, and it includes some big changes. Some of them good, some of them maybe not so good. And so I wanted to go through some of the items that I think are most relevant or you might find most interesting if you are trying to get out of debt right now. Now, this first one might not impact you, but I thought it was kind of interesting, and it is a newborn account. If you have a baby between 2025 and 2028, then the government will open an account with $1,000 in it for your child, and you can contribute up to $5,000 per year to this account, and your child will have this money. It is tax deferred, it will grow, and they can use it at the age of 18 for 3 very specific reasons only if they want to enjoy the tax benefit from this account. And those 3 things are education, buying a home, and opening a new business. So if they do any of those 3 things, then they will have this money at this special tax break. So this newborn account is now available if you have a baby between 2025 and 2028. And this doesn't specifically help you to get out of debt per se, but if you are having a baby or you just had a baby, then maybe you were planning to open up an account for their college education in the future, and maybe now this money will help you, a little bit of money there that you can maybe use instead of putting your own money there, you can put it towards your debt. Next is an expanded child tax credit. So it is now expanded to $2,200 from 2025 to 2028. After that, it'll be $2,000. And so this equates to $200 per child. So with this new tax credit, maybe you can take that money instead and put it towards your debt. If you earn tips as part of your job, then your tips will be tax-free up to $25,000. Now let's talk about the student loan changes, because I know a lot of you have student loan debt that you're trying to pay down. I certainly had a lot of it that we paid off. And so the SAVE plan, if you were utilizing that, is coming to an end. So that's, now more borrowers are going to have to move towards a standard 30-year plus repayment. So this is bad news if you have student loan debt. Graduate students also face a new loan cap, which is good or bad depending on how you look at it. I personally feel like we should all be borrowing less money or none at all if we can. So maybe it's a good thing that there's a cap on it. But if you were looking to borrow more money through the government to go to grad school, that there is now a limit on how much you can borrow. So I would say if you are someone who's in the situation where you have student loan debt or you were planning to borrow for graduate school, I think now is the perfect time to really be reevaluating or at least re-looking at your repayment options for things, and also trying to start build up maybe a savings account of a buffer in case your loan payments go up. So it's just important to try to start thinking about that right now versus when this all starts really going into effect. You've probably heard in the news that big changes are coming to benefits like Medicaid and SNAP. So the bill is tightening eligibility for these programs if they are something that you utilize. There's also new work requirements that go along with it. I believe it might be 80 hours a month. So the bill also extends some tax cuts, and it raises the SALT, which is the state and local tax deduction cap, to $40,000. And there is a $6,000 income tax deduction if you are 65 or older. Now, of course, the plan is largely funded by deficit spending. So that means that the government is borrowing more money, right? More money is being borrowed, which can increase inflation because the national debt is being hiked back up again. So it might result in higher interest rates and future cuts to government programs. So usually what I like to do is to focus on things that I can control. So if news is starting to make you feel if you're upset by the news of this new bill, or if those programs that are impacted, programs that you yourself utilize, and you're feeling out of control, then I would suggest trying to focus on some things that you can control. That way it'll help mentally with your mental health, and also just to make you feel some form of empowerment. So what can you do? Of course, try to target your high interest credit cards. If you have credit card debt right now, I would definitely recommend trying to get them as much out of your life as you can. Try to pay them down. Definitely don't use them if you can help it. Try not to accrue any more debt, and try to get that debt out of your life as fast, as hard, as quick as possible. If you do receive any tax savings as a result of this bill, definitely consider taking that money and putting it towards your debt. Try to pay down your debt or build up your savings. Depending on which stage or which step you're at in your financial journey, try to take the benefits that you're receiving in the form of tax cuts and put it somewhere and utilize it wisely. And plan for student loan changes. If you have a student loan, then probably there's going to be some changes. Try to figure out what those changes specifically are for you, and try to start planning accordingly to make sure that you can make the payments, if the payments are going to be higher, or cut some other things so that you can continue to stay current and try to pay down your debt. If you rely on public benefits, then try to reassess and see what other ways that you can locate help for yourself, or other options that might be available to you. Because if you do rely on food stamps and they are going to be cut, what other things that you can do? Can you try to pick up extra work somewhere? Just know that the changes are coming, whether we like it or we don't. And so it's time to start planning for that eventuality before it actually occurs, if you can. That way you can soften the blow of it. Also, so programs like Watchdogs for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau are being cut. And so if you have debt, I think that we all need to be a little bit more vigilant and make sure that we're not being taken advantage of. So unfortunately, if there is less oversight over all of our programs, then we are at risk. So keep reading the fine print. Don't sign anything unless you've really read through, because lenders, they might get sneakier. They're going to push harder to try to rope us into acquiring more debt and to agreeing to worse terms. So be very careful, especially if you are purchasing a car, or if you're doing anything, any kind of large purchase or even small purchase, even checking out at a store and they're asking you, hey, would you like to sign up for this or that? You'll save 15%, you'll save 20%. Be very, very careful. Usually the harder someone is pushing you to do something, then the more red flags should be, more alarm bells should be going off in your head, because it does for me. The more someone is pushing me to do something, the more prone I am to say no and to run as far as I can and back away. I don't care how much money you're telling me I'm going to save. If you're pushing so hard, obviously I'm not really going to be saving money in the long run. And so I'm very cautious. And so be aware of that. So I think that's going to be more and more prevalent, unfortunately, as time goes on, because like I said, there's not as much, they're just not being watched as closely, and they're going to be able to get away with a lot more. And just remember that your daily choices matter much more than any legislation, okay? Your choices as far as what you are doing with the money that you do earn and how you are spending it or overspending it or saving matter much, much more. So try to keep that in mind. We still all do have control over our own finances and our own lives, and we all get to make the choices of what we're going to do with the money that we do have. And so I would say, if you are upset about this bill, try to take a deep breath, take advantage of the parts that help you. Absolutely, take advantage of those. So let's all try to stay focused, stay frugal, and let's keep moving forward, all right? Okay guys, if it's your first time here, be sure to subscribe. If you are interested in watching a video where I talk all about AI and how I think it's going to impact our future careers, you can go ahead and click here. And if you do, I'll see you in that video. And if not, I'll check you in the next one. Okay, bye guys.